guys. So I'm making this video because I've taken a little bit of a hiatus on YouTube and I just kind of needed a break. I focused a lot on my mental health in the last year and I'm coming back to tell you that I am pregnant. A little backstory on me. We had quite the road to get here. So fertility wise, I went through a lot. The biggest thing being I have endometriosis. I also have a uterine fibroid that's pretty large. And I also have PCOS. So all those things combined make it really hard to conceive. And by the time we kind of agreed, okay, let's try to get pregnant, I was like, you know what? I think it might be a good idea to just go see a fertility doctor, double check, make sure things are looking okay. That's what I did. So over the summer, I went to the fertility doctor. I didn't know what to expect at all. I had never been to a fertility doctor. It was actually kind of scary. They did some blood work to make sure that my egg count was okay. So my egg count came back fine. My eggs were healthy. Everything was good. With endometriosis being the concern, he wanted to do a test called the HSG test. So HSG test to see if your fallopian tubes are blocked or not. They inject like some kind of dye or fluid up there and to see if it flows all the way through your tubes. So when they did that for me, they found out that one tube was crumpled up in the corner and there was nothing flowing through my tube at all. He had me like rolling over on the like bed to see if I could like get anything to flow through, and it was completely blocked on one side. The other side was flowing through, but it wasn't completely healthy looking. He said it's not 100% great, didn't flow through perfectly, but it still flowed through. So you should be able in theory to get pregnant on that side. So what that means is every other month you can get pregnant when the egg releases from the good fallopian tube. I was like, okay, cool, every other month, got it. And he was like, yeah, it's gonna be really hard for you to get pregnant. I was like, okay, great. Yeah, that's why I'm here. Got it. I left that appointment really upset and in tears, of course, because it's really hard to hear that it's going to be difficult to conceive, especially when you really want a baby. I was ready for that step in my life. So to hear that it was going to be really, really difficult was heartbreaking. It was devastating. And he basically told me, you know, we're going to try for 3 months on our own, because I told him I really wanted to try on my own. Like, I didn't want to just jump to fertility treatment when we really didn't know if we were going to be able to get pregnant on our own or not. So I was like, well, let me just try first and see what we can do. So that's what we did. He said basically if it doesn't happen in that first 3 months, come back at the start of the new year. We're gonna put you on Clomid, which is like a fertility drug that makes you release extra eggs. It's actually how a lot of people, he said, end up with multiples. So I was like, oh God, that's terrifying. Like I could do twins, but like triplets, that is terrifying to me. So I was really nervous to go on that, and I'd heard a lot of side effects from Clomid and stuff like that are really rough. So, you know, with any fertility treatment, there's a lot of rough side effects. I was nervous about that, so I was like, okay, let's just try on our own. So that's what we did. We ended up trying, we started in August, and I actually bought like that little book and all the fertility strips and stuff like that to try to track my ovulation, because I was like, if I'm gonna do this, I gotta do this right, because I got 3 months to try and then they're gonna put me on these fertility medications. So it tracks my ovulation. You just pee on a little strip every day. The test line is as dark as the control line, then you know you're ovulating, or you're right around your ovulation, I guess. I don't know. So we did that for a month in August, and in September, I took a pregnancy test. Actually, I took many pregnancy tests, so let me start there. So I took a lot of pregnancy tests, and I probably started taking them a little too early because all of them were negative, every single one, which, you know, when you're trying hard to get pregnant, it's really upsetting every single time you see a negative test. I really had no symptoms at all. I had nothing that would make me think, oh yeah, this is definitely the time I'm pregnant. Nothing. I actually, in fact, thought it did not work because every test was negative up until the very day that I was gonna miss my period. So I actually had taken all these tests, and the night before I found out I was pregnant, I told my husband, I was like, yeah, it definitely didn't work this time. We didn't do it right. Yeah, this isn't our month. Like, there's no way that I'm pregnant. I feel no different. I have no symptoms. Like, my boobs aren't sore. Nothing's going on. So the next day I was like, well, I was gonna stop taking the pregnancy test. And then for some reason, like, I was going out that night and I was like, let me just take one just to make sure that I'm not pregnant before I go like drink alcohol tonight. So that's what I did. I took a test right before I was about to leave, and there was a very, very faint positive line. Called my husband in from the other room because I was like, am I just seeing things? Because, you know, you get those like line eyes when you're trying to have a baby. I called him in and he was like, no, I think there's definitely something there. I was like, okay, well, I won't drink just in case. So we go out, whatever. And then the next day I actually went out and got, like, I only had the little strips, like that's all I had. I didn't even have like a first response test or anything that's like extra sensitive, nothing. So I went out the next day and I bought like the clear blue and the first response, and I took the first response test and it was definitely positive. So of course I had to take 30 more just to double check. So I took a whole bunch of pregnancy tests. They were all coming back positive. I was taking them every day to make sure that they were getting darker, because I was terrified at this point that, you know, when you know that you're gonna have such a difficult time getting pregnant, and then you know you have health issues going on that affect your fertility, your first thought when you get pregnant is, I don't want to lose this baby. I was terrified for the entire first trimester, and that wait between finding out you're pregnant on the pregnancy test and actually going to the doctor is horrifying. It is the longest wait of your life, because you're like, is the baby okay? Am I okay? Is there even a baby in there? What's going on? So it's just really scary. It's a really scary time, especially when you're somebody who, you know, wasn't even supposed to be able to get pregnant. You're like, oh God, now I am. And you're just terrified to lose the baby. So I went through that until we were able to go to the doctor. We weren't able to go to the doctor until 8 weeks. So after 8 weeks, you literally have to wait a month, because you find out when you're 4 weeks pregnant. I had to wait a whole month to go to the doctor, and it was horrible. And like any little thing just, you know, terrifies you. So as far as symptoms go, I really didn't start having symptoms until like a week or two after I found out I was pregnant. I would probably say around 6 weeks I started getting like actual pregnancy symptoms. So of course, nausea, that's the big one that everybody loves so much. The nausea was horrendous for me. My nausea lasted, I'm about to be 18 weeks now. My nausea lasted until about probably 15 or 16 weeks it lasted. It was a long time. Nothing helped me. I tried the C-bands. I tried the little Preggy Pops. I tried to suck on sour candy. Ginger was disgusting to me. Mints were disgusting to me. Like, I could not eat anything other than like cold, crunchy salads. That was basically for that first like 15 weeks of my pregnancy. I was in really rough shape. Like, I was throwing up all the time. Not even just throwing up, but like dry heaving to the point where like nothing was coming out at all. And like, it was just awful. Like, just violently retching all the time. It was every day. It was every day. Either before work, after work. I still am working a full-time job. A lot of people do when they're pregnant. It's just the way of the world these days. I love my job, so, you know, it's not something I would want to abandon because I'm not feeling good. It's just, you know, it's been a rough time. So yeah, the nausea was pretty bad. I did get some breast tenderness, but nothing crazy. I do feel like my breasts like got bigger very fast. That was kind of strange for me. And I've never been like small chested, but yeah, it was kind of shocking when they miraculously grew. Like, I grew out of my bras within like the first month that I knew I was pregnant, and I had to like go on Amazon and buy like more comfy, bigger bras. I had an eye twitch. That was a weird one. That was like right around when I found out I was pregnant. My eye, just this eye started twitching like crazy all the time. So I don't know if it was just like a weird nerve thing or what, but yeah, my eye started twitching all the time. So that was super weird. Stuffy nose for sure. I had a lot of cramping too in my first trimester, which really freaked me out. I had horrible anxiety over it because I was like, oh great, like I'm gonna lose the baby, because I thought, you know, cramping equals miscarriage, and that's like, your mind just automatically goes to the worst place. I did have some food aversions, was very thirsty, had some headaches, dizziness. I was incredibly bloated. Like, I told my mom I was pregnant at like 7 weeks. I could hide it obviously, but like, I could tell that there was something going on down there, because it looked like I had a little bump starting already at 7 weeks, and I was like, what the heck? Like, I thought this wasn't supposed to pop out until like 16 to 20 weeks with your first baby. And I feel like I looked like I was starting to get a bump already at like 7 weeks. Smells were the biggest thing that triggered me, I think, when it came to my nausea. I really didn't have any food cravings. At first I kind of wanted spicy stuff, and then immediately, like as soon as the sickness started, it was over for me. Like, there was no more spicy. I still can't really eat spicy food because it gives me such bad like heartburn. Same with coffee. Can't drink coffee, which I guess is a good thing because you're not supposed to have a lot of caffeine, but yeah, coffee just destroys me for the whole day. A lot of people say they get constipated. I had the opposite problem. So that's really good. Those smells were really bad. Like, I still have a hard time sometimes opening the fridge because the smell of like the cold food in the fridge makes me want to absolutely hurl. There was one time I came in from outside and my husband had like lit a candle in the house. And I took one with the candle and was like running to the bathroom. It was horrible. Sleeping, I've had a hard time sleeping this whole time, and I don't think that that's gonna get better. Another thing that I really did not know, your immune system is weakened when you're pregnant, which I did not know before I got pregnant. Maybe I'm just stupid, but I didn't know that. I got sick multiple times in my first trimester. At first, like, it started with just a stuffy nose, and then I actually got like a full-on like sinus infection. Then the sinus infection went away and something else, like it was a chest cold after that. And then I actually got the flu, so that was really hard. I had the flu over Thanksgiving, so that was awful. That was easily the sickest I've ever been in a very, very long time, probably since high school when I had the swine flu. So yeah, the flu, 10 out of 10, do not recommend while you're pregnant. I ended up in the hospital on Thanksgiving. It was not fun. What else in my first trimester? Anything else crazy? We did do the NIPT test to find out the gender of the baby and also to see if there were any kind of genetic abnormalities. Just wanted to kind of rule that out and just make sure he was healthy. So we did that. We found out he was a boy. I actually did the NIPT test through Natera, and Natera, I know there's like some long wait times. It was the most agonizing week wait of my life, waiting to find out if A, he was okay, and B, like just waiting to know the, you know, we really wanted to know what gender he was. So we were just excited to just know a little piece of him a little bit more. We didn't care. Well, I didn't care. My husband really wanted a boy. Yeah, I didn't care. I was going to be bawling my eyes out whether it was a girl or a boy. I wouldn't have cared, but we both just had like a very strong feeling, especially me. I had a really strong feeling the whole time that it was a boy. I think he just wanted a boy, but I had a really strong feeling the whole time that it was going to be a boy, and I was right. I was very excited. It was really cool to find out what we were having so early, because I think, you know, before the NIPT was a thing, like you had to wait till your 20-week anatomy scan, and I'm not even there yet. So I can't even imagine not knowing at this point that he's a boy. So it's just so fun that we get to know like just a little something about him, because you really don't know anything about your baby at all when you're pregnant. You don't know anything about them. So any little piece of information that they can give to you about your baby, you're like, yes, please give it to me. I want to know who you are. Now that I'm in the second trimester, I'm kind of feeling like I'm getting to know him a little bit. Like, you know, I can explain kind of what second trimester has been like for me in another video. But like I said, I'm almost 18 weeks now. So when I wrap up in my second trimester, I'll do a whole recap of that, because that's been very, very different from my first trimester. A lot better. Thank God. Definitely not easy, let me tell you that. I will say the first trimester knocked me on my ass, and I was not prepared for that. You know, everybody on the internet always says that pregnancy is so glorious and wonderful, and it absolutely is a miracle. A, that I'm pregnant at all and have this little miracle baby, but it's a miracle just to bring life into the world. But oh my God, this pregnancy's been horrible. And not enough people talk about that, I think. You know, there's so many people that just say online, oh my God, I just love being pregnant. It's so glorious. I'm glowing. This is amazing. And I just don't feel that. I have never felt more disgusting in my life. I have never been sicker in my life. And it's been really hard on my body, especially working full time. And I work a very active job where I have to be super involved and on my feet all day. So, you know, that's been really, really difficult, and I did not expect that. It is very exhausting and hard on your body to be pregnant. I have not had a good time with that, but nonetheless, I'm incredibly grateful for this baby. I am so excited to bring him into the world and see his little face. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that we would be having a baby. That's where I'm gonna wrap up the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have a similar story, please leave it down below. I would love to kind of make a little community here for, you know, people who are either moms to be who have gone through similar things. I think it's good to just connect with other people who are going through it too. So leave your stories down below, and I'm pregnant.